belated birthdays in the past, happy future birthdays in the future. My name is LimedGreen, and I don't know if you know this, but recently, Poker Night of the Inventory was undelisted, and they put out like a remaster on a whole bunch of consoles. And that really got people talking about the game and its sequel, and, you know, really debating on what we want in a third game, right? That's probably like the funnest thing to talk about in games like this. Like, what characters could they add, right? At least that's the funnest for me. Now, I think I like really scientifically crafted a great roster. The only rule I gave myself is there was a Valve character in the first game, the Heavy, and a Valve character in the second game with GLaDOS. So I had to include a Valve character. And everything else, you know, I kind of had rules, but you'll see. So first off, there's, you know, the narrator, and in the first two games there was the guy from Monkey Island. Alright, we're starting off fresh with the new narrator, and it got me thinking, who's the best narrator in video games? Really well known. Boom. We got the narrator from Stanley Parable. Why does this work? I believe narrator can, you know, throw in a couple jabs, break a little couple fourth walls, and it's iconic at the same time. Iconic, right? But that's not what you really came here for. You want to see like who's playing cards. So first off, we have Monica from Doki Doki Literature Club. At first, I wanted Monica to be the narrator of the games themselves, and I'm like, no. And then I found or remembered that the narrator from Stanley Parable exists. And I'm like, well, that definitely takes precedent. So Monica both represents a couple of things here by putting her in here. She represents, like, I don't want to call it mascot horror, because Monica's not really mascot horror, but, you know, the internet type of horror, you know, that kind of appeared in the late 2010s or mid 2010s, and she also can like banter with the narrator and kind of flirt with the main character. And I thought it would be cool if the narrator from Stanley Parable could call out Monica, because I imagine Monica could be like, you're starting to, you know, beat her, take her chips, and it wouldn't be like this wouldn't affect gameplay, but she would try to like change how the game is played, and the narrator would call her out on it and should have to like change it back or something. I thought that would be like the coolest thing. So Monica's in here. Who is next? Why, it's Gordon from Half-Life, of course. This is the Valve rep. Now you're asking, well, Lime, that doesn't make any sense. How does Gordon even operate? He's a silent protagonist. I think that would be like laying the groundwork for the funniest gags where the other characters try and like make conversations with him, and then he just kind of like gestures, or like when he wants more cards, he could just like bang the crowbar on the table or something. I think you could do a lot with it. You just gotta be clever, right? So there's Gordon Freeman, and who is at the table also? Kizuna Ai. Okay, so in the second game, really, they included more, I feel, TV characters. And in a lot of lists today, people are like, oh man, well, if they include, Smiling Friends, well, if they include Amazing Digital Circus, right? And I see that, and I have my own solution to that down the line. But at the same time, I was more so looking to properties that, like, have withstood time, I guess, and that people were like, oh man, they're still talking about them to this day. And Kizuna Ai represents like VTubers as a whole. At first I was just gonna write VTuber, and then that could have been like any VTuber you imagined. Iron Mouse, I don't know, Galgura, Pikame, but then I thought more on it, and I was like, actually, Kizuna is like the VTuber. So that's where I was really thinking. Now you might have the same conversation with Gordon Freeman. You could be like, hey, how does Kizuna really talk to the others? I thought she only talks in Japanese. Now, that's where I pull my little trick card. In the beginning, she only spoke like Japanese, because that's only what her, like, I want to say actor, but that doesn't seem like the person controlling Kizuna. They only spoke English, or Japanese. They only spoke Japanese with a little bit of English. But I feel, now that they've changed voice actors a couple times, that's its whole can of worms. But I feel you could just get someone to voice Kizuna in English, or just get one of the voice actors to learn English decently well, and be like, okay, here is someone who speaks English pretty well, who doesn't speak English at all, and who kind of speaks it, It would be a good dichotomy and set up for a couple of jokes, I believe. And you're going to lose your mind when you see this last one. The final one is Bubsy from Bubsy 40. Now, you're like, what are you talking about? Bubsy? I was thinking of a character who needs, like, who would come to the table and would be like, I want to, like, redeem myself. And Bubsy kind of fits that role, right? Especially in Bubsy 4D, I feel like they could make jokes at Bubsy's, like, Bubsy's earlier games, and Bubsy would be like kind of in on it. He would be like, yeah, That's kind of like how he is in Bubsy 40. The game's not even out yet, and I'm like all about his aesthetic and how he's portrayed in that game. And I think Bubsy could be like a good, not counter, but like good match against like I keep looking at Gordon Freeman. Against Gordon Freeman, I guess, because Gordon Freeman, he's seen as like, oh man, awesome hero. You know, if only he would speak and say all his wisdom. And Bubsy, you know, he's seen as, you know, the internet's kind of punching bag, right? And I can see Bubsy being like, hey, you know, making jokes at his own expense, and then knowing when to roll with the jokes and then just, you know, punch back. Being like, hey, my jokes, my games, you know, they were pretty bad, but at least I got a third one, Gordon. Jokes like that. Now, here's our cast. There's our announcer, our dealer. Where does this take place? You kind of saw it, and it is the solution to our little problem we had earlier, where I was talking about, you know, media properties that are in the now, and that people still talk about them. Will people still talk about them 10, 20, 30 years from now? And that is the Backrooms. I imagine this game taking place at a table lit by the Backrooms. You could have, by the way, you could have teased out that this was going to be the answer, because this is Backrooms Yellow. I actually took the eyedrop tool and took it and just painted all this background. I thought that was a neat little touch. Why the Backrooms? Why do I think it has like staying power? Well, it has a movie coming out, and I feel like if you do like the background as the Backrooms, you can do like a lot. Just the liminal spaces. Doesn't even need to be like, you know, of course we're doing like the iconic liminal hallway shot that the Backrooms is known for, but you know, and then you can unlock like different locations where it's like, oh, the liminal pool area, you know, or like, oh, the dark courtyard, you know, the jungle gyms, you know. I really like just imagining the idea of them playing at a pool table, just at a pool for some reason. that just seems so kooky to me. And then, you ready for this? This comes from like a place where I'm not a crazy Backrooms fan. I liked the original where it's like, oh man, the only thing in the Backrooms is like you, and then you know you kind of like tear yourself apart, you know. You know, your mind kind of plays tricks on you. I like that aspect, but we're kind of playing with, you know, the movie net series aspect. So I imagine when they're playing the cards, sometimes like the Stanley Parable Adventure line could appear like across one of the walls in the Backrooms, right? Or like the head crabs could be scuttling by, or like whatever Bubsy, those little gremlin creatures could be scurrying around. But that's my entire thing for Poker Night 3. I thought it was kind of interesting, especially when you only have 4 characters to think of. It's definitely is like the Mount Rushmore of media, and you really don't have a lot to play with. So let me know in the comments down below, who would you invite to your poker game? Would it be any of these fine characters? Or would it be Mr. Krabs?